The gold embossed invitation sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days before I even opened it. I knew what it was, my younger sister Sarah's engagement party. The envelope screamed expensive, just like everything else in Sarah's life. When I finally tore it open, the words practically glowed. Join us in celebrating Sarah and Christopher's journey to forever. Forever. I almost laughed. I hadn't seen my parents in almost a year. Not because of any dramatic fallout or shouting match nothing back clean. It was more like slow erosion, the kind where you wake up one day and realize the connection was never really there to begin with. They had Sarah. They'd always had Sarah. I'd finally stopped trying to compete for a spot in their hearts that was never available, but Uncle James would be there. He'd moved to Seattle 5 years ago, and we kept in touch. He was the only one who ever asked how I was doing and actually waited for the answer. So our SVPD won guest. No +1 needed. The venue was exactly what I expected, a country club with vaulted ceilings, crystal chandeliers, and enough white roses to open a florist shop. Valets and bow ties rushed to open car doors. I pulled up in my Mercedes, nothing flashy, just comfortable. The valet's eyes lingered a second too long. Probably wondering how someone in their late 20s afforded it, I walked through the grand entrance. And the first thing I saw was a blown-up photo of Sarah and her fiancé Christopher, both impossibly beautiful, both from money. Sarah spotted me immediately. Her smile was bright, practiced, and completely empty. "You came." She air-kissed near my cheek, careful not to smudge her makeup. "I wasn't sure you would." "Wouldn't miss it," I lied smoothly. She was already looking past me, scanning for someone more important. "Mom and Dad are by the bar. You should say hi." And then she was gone, swept up by a group of her sorority sisters. I found my parents exactly where Sarah said they'd be. Dad in a custom suit, Mom in a dress that probably cost more than my first car. The one I'd bought myself after working double shifts at a diner. Sweetheart. Mom's voice was bright, but her hug was brief. "You look nice." Nice, not beautiful. Not stunning. Nice. Dad nodded. "Good to see you." "How's work?" "Good, really good, actually. That's great. He was already looking over my shoulder. "We should catch up later. Your mother and I need to make sure everything's perfect for Sarah." And just like that, I was dismissed. The opening act nobody came to see. I grabbed a glass of champagne and found a quiet corner. This was a mistake. I should have sent a gift and stayed home. But then I heard it, that booming laugh I'd recognize anywhere. There's my favorite niece. Uncle James came barreling through the crowd, all 6'3" of him, with that wild gray beard and kind eyes. He pulled me into a real hug, the kind that actually meant something. "Uncle James, when did you get in?" "This morning. Flew red-eye from Seattle. Wouldn't miss seeing you, kid." He stepped back, looking me up and down. "You look fantastic. Life's treating you well." "Yeah, actually, it really is." Good. I've been following your posts online. That business of yours is really taking off, huh?" I smiled genuinely for the first time that night. "It's been incredible. We just landed 3 major contracts this quarter." "That's my girl!" He clinked his glass against mine. "You know, I drove past that house of yours last month. The one in Maple Heights. Absolutely stunning neighborhood. I felt my cheeks warm." "You saw it? I stopped and took a picture. Sent it to Linda, told her, "This is what our niece built with her own 2 hands." He was beaming with pride, his voice carrying across the immediate area. "So tell me, what did that beauty run you?" "Had to be, what, 1.5 million? The conversation around us started to fade. I felt eyes turning. Uncle James, but he was on a roll, his voice full of genuine enthusiasm. 1.5 million, right? For that gorgeous colonial with the wraparound porch. Kit, I'm so damn proud of you." The silence spread like spilled wine across white carpet. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Champagne glasses paused halfway to lips. And then I felt it, the weight of everyone's stare. My mother's face had gone completely white. My father's jaw was clenched so tight. I thought his teeth might crack. And Sarah looked like she just watched someone else blow out the candles on her birthday cake. I'm sorry, did you say 1.5 million? Some aunt I barely recognized stepped closer. Dollars? Uncle James, bless him, was completely oblivious to the bomb he'd just dropped. Of course dollars. What else? Our girl here is crushing it in the tech consulting world. Started her own firm right out of wait. How long's it been now? 5 years, I said quietly, my eyes locked on my parents' faces. 5 years. Uncle James repeated. Built it from the ground up. No investors, no loans, just pure grit and genius. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in years chimed in. Wait, you own your own company? I do. And you bought a house in Maple Heights? This from someone's plus one? Clearly impressed. My mother finally found her voice, thin and strained. James, this is Sarah's special day. Perhaps we should... Should what, Margaret? Uncle James turned to my mother, his expression shifting from jovial to confused. Be proud of both your daughters? Because I sure as hell am proud of this one. The tension was so thick you could cut it with the cake knife Sarah hadn't even used yet. My father stepped forward, his smile painfully forced. Of course we're proud. We're proud of both our girls. Now, if we could just... Then why didn't I know any of this? Uncle James wasn't letting it go. I had to find out through LinkedIn that she'd started a company, LinkedIn. I'm her uncle, for crying out loud. Sarah's fiancé Christopher leaned over to her and whispered something. Whatever it was made Sarah's perfectly made-up face contort with anger. She plastered the smile back on quickly, but I'd seen it. Anyone else feel like they're missing something here? Uncle James looked around at the growing crowd. Because I'm clearly missing something. I took a deep breath. This was it. The moment I could either deflect and let them save face, or I could tell the truth. For once, just once, I could tell the truth. They didn't know Uncle James, I said clearly, my voice steady. They didn't know about the house because they never asked. My mother's eyes went wide. Sweetheart, that's not fair, isn't it? I turned to face her fully. When's the last time you called me? Not texted about a family obligation, but actually called to ask how I was doing? Silence. When's the last time you visited me? Or asked to see pictures of my home? Or my office? More silence. Uncle James was looking between us, the pieces starting to click together. Wait a minute. You didn't know she bought a house? My father cleared his throat. We knew she was doing well, of course we knew. Did you? I wasn't angry. That was the strange part. I wasn't even hurt anymore. I was just tired. Because when I called to tell you, I closed on the house. Mom said she had to go. Sarah needed help picking bridesmaid dresses. When I texted you the photo, Dad, you responded with a thumbs up emoji. A thumbs up emoji. That's not we were busy, my mother was floundering. You flew to Paris to help Sarah pick her engagement ring. My voice was matter of fact, not accusatory. Just stating facts. You spent 3 weeks in Paris. For a ring. Sarah finally spoke up, her voice sharp. This is my engagement party. Why party? Can we not do this right now? I turned to my sister, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small next to her. You're right. This is your party. Your perfect party in your perfect venue with your perfect fiancé. Paid for, I'm assuming, by Mom and Dad? Sarah's silence was answer enough. Thought so. I looked back at my parents. The same Mom and Dad who told me at 19 that they couldn't help with college tuition because money was tight. The same parents who said I needed to learn financial responsibility when I asked for help with textbooks. But Sarah? I gestured to the venue, the ice sculptures. The live band. Sarah got a different lesson plan, didn't she? An older woman I recognized as someone's grandmother spoke up. Now wait just a minute. Are you saying they paid for Sarah's college but not yours? Every penny, I confirmed. Full ride at USC. Apartment in Santa Monica. Monthly allowance. Car. The murmurs started then, rippling through the crowd like a wave. But I thought you went to USC too? This from a cousin on my dad's side. I did. On scholarships, student loans, and working 3 jobs. I graduated with $80,000 in debt. Paid off the last of it 8 months ago. Uncle James' face had gone from confused to furious. Margaret, Tom, tell me she's exaggerating. My father's face was red. We made the choice we thought was best for both girls. We believed in teaching independence. Independence? I almost laughed. Is that what we're calling it? Because from where I stood, it looked a lot like favoritism. That's not fair. Sarah's voice cracked. You always do this. You always try to make everything about you. Can't you let me have one day? I'm not trying to take anything from you, Sarah. I was calm, unnervingly calm. I'm just answering Uncle James' question. He asked about my house. I'm telling him how I bought it completely on my own, with zero help from the people who were supposed to help both their children equally. My mother's eyes were filling with tears. We did what we thought was right. Sarah needed more support. She's more delicate. Delicate. I tasted the word. Is that what we're calling it? She's 30 and has never paid a bill in her life. I paid my first rent at 18 because you wanted to move out. My father's voice rose. You were so determined to be independent, to prove something. I moved out because you turned my bedroom into Sarah's walk-in closet while I was at freshman orientation. The words exploded out of me. I came home for Thanksgiving and my bed was gone, replaced with shoe racks. The gasps from the crowd were audible now. Even Sarah had the decency to look uncomfortable. Uncle James put a hand on my shoulder. Is that true? I nodded. They said I'd be living in dorms anyway, and Sarah needed the space. I spent the Thanksgiving sleeping on the couch. My mother was openly crying now. You never told us it hurt you. I shouldn't have had to. My composure finally cracked. What parent does that and doesn't realize it would hurt? What parent pays $200,000 for one child's education and tells the other child there's no money? What parent attends every single one of their golden child's volleyball games but misses their other daughter's college graduation because it conflicted with a brunch reservation? The silence that followed was deafening. Christopher, Sarah's fiancé, cleared his throat awkwardly. Maybe we should take a break, let everyone cool down. No. I straightened my shoulders. No, I think it's time everyone knew. For years, I thought there was something wrong with me. That I wasn't good enough, wasn't trying hard enough, wasn't worthy of my parents' attention or love or basic support. I bent myself into shapes trying to earn what Sarah got by default. And you know what the funny part is? No one answered. The funny part is that building that life without you, the company, the house, the success, that's what finally taught me I was enough. I didn't need you to see me for me to be worth seeing. Uncle James squeezed my shoulder. Others in the crowd were nodding. I saw a few people looking at my parents with undisguised disappointment. Sarah's voice was small. I didn't know. I didn't know they treated you so differently. I looked at my little sister, really looked at her. Maybe you didn't, but you also never asked. My father tried one more time. We can talk about this at home, as a family. No, I said simply. We can't. Because I realized something today, standing here in this beautiful venue, surrounded by people celebrating someone else's happiness. I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need your validation. I spent 5 years building a life I'm proud of, and whether you acknowledge it or not doesn't change what I've accomplished. I set down my champagne glass and pulled out my phone. With a few taps, I pulled up a photo and turned it to show Uncle James my house, bathed in golden sunset light with its wraparound porch and blooming garden. To answer your original question, Uncle James, yes, 1.5 million. Closed on it last year. It's got 5 bedrooms, a home office that overlooks the lake, enough space that I never feel cramped. I host Thanksgiving there now. For friends who've become family. I looked around the crowd one last time. I hope you all have a beautiful evening celebrating Sarah and Christopher. They seem very happy together. I meant it too. Then I turned to my parents. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done waiting for you to see me. I hope someday you understand what you missed." I grabbed my clutch and headed for the door. Uncle James caught up with me in the parking lot. "Hey, kiddo." "Wait up." I turned, and the tears I'd been holding back finally started to fall. He pulled me into a hug and let me cry on his shoulder. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I'm sorry for setting that off in there. I had no idea. Don't apologize." I pulled back, wiping my eyes. "You did me a favor." I've been carrying that weight for so long, I forgot how heavy it was. He smiled sadly. "That offer still stands, you know? Linda and I would love to have you for Christmas." "I'd like that. And hey," he pulled out his phone. "Send me your address. I want to send a proper housewarming gift, since your parents apparently never bothered." I laughed through my tears and texted him the information as I drove away from that country club. Past the valets and the perfectly manicured lawns, I felt something unexpected. Lightness. For the first time in my life, I wasn't carrying the hope that maybe this time they'd see me. Maybe this time I'd be enough, because I was enough. The house, the company, the life I'd built, those weren't just symbols of success. They were proof. Proof that I didn't need their money or their approval to become exactly who I was meant to be. My phone buzzed at a red light. "Uncle James, proud of you, kid." "Always have been." I smiled and typed back. "Love you too, Uncle J. Behind me. That party would continue." Sarah would smile her perfect smile. My parents would make excuses to confuse relatives. And somewhere in all that noise, maybe they'd realize what they'd lost, but that was their journey now. Mine was leading me home, to my house. My beautiful, hard-earned, entirely mine house. I pulled into my driveway an hour later, the porch lights glowing warm and welcoming. As I walked up those steps, I didn't feel the weight of family disappointment or years of being overlooked. I felt free, and that, I realized, was worth more than any inheritance or approval could ever be. I unlocked my door and stepped inside, closing it firmly behind me. Tomorrow, I'd deal with the inevitable phone calls and text messages. Tomorrow, I'd decide what kind of relationship, if any, I wanted with my family moving forward. But tonight, I was just going to sit on my couch, in my house, in my life, and feel grateful. Grateful for the struggle that made me strong. Grateful for the rejection that made me self-reliant. Grateful for Uncle James, who saw me when others looked away. And grateful for myself for not giving up, even when it would have been easier to disappear. The $1.5 million house wasn't just property. It was proof. Proof that being overlooked doesn't make you invisible. Proof that lack of support doesn't mean lack of capability. Proof that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. And I was living very, very well.